Hi folks, so as you've seen from the title of the video, or the thumbnail at least, unless I've done one of those rubbish, I won't have done, I can't be doing with them, you know, the big reveal things where people are like, I've got a new car, and then they've blacked out the silhouette of the car and it's like, guess what I've got? Not for me. Right, anyway, so it's a Celica. You've obviously seen it from the thumbnail, and the title of the video probably says Celica. Right, so completely different car from the M140i, radically different. About as different as you can get, to be perfectly honest, as a daily driver. As I explained in the video when I mentioned that I'd sold the M140i, the motivation for this is very simple, and that's saving a bit of money. So the M140i is quite an expensive car, and at present a lot of my mileage is just nipping into the city and nipping back out again, and you know, the odd cross-country jaunt to my brother's to watch some football together. I'm not travelling with work, and I've moved closer to the city, so I'm not racking up quite as many miles. So that the level of money tied up in the M140 as it was, and the cost of running and ownership as it was, didn't really stack up for me. So I made a change, and I'm trying some more sort of humble, budget-friendly motoring, you know, I'm quite excited by it, to be perfectly honest. The M140i was, you know, to me, sort of the perfect daily driver, south of, I don't know, like an M5 or a 911 turbo. It was absolutely wonderful, and I don't want to detract from that at all. I really don't. It was a superb car, but I wanted to do something slightly different on a more modest budget, and do something that would perhaps excite me and interest me in driving a slightly different way. So I have a Mark II Honda CRX as well. You might have seen sporadic videos about those. I'm not very good at getting those videos out, but over the summer I was driving that a fair amount, and I loved driving it because it was just so refreshing. It was sort of fairly low powered but ultra responsive, lightweight, nippy little buzzy thing, and around these country roads it was fantastic, kind of the same as the Clio 200 was before. And I wanted something that could kind of do some of that, interest me, sort of look all right, and kind of key was low running cost and not likely to go wrong. So there's lots of really good cars for modest budgets, you know, things like the Mark 5 or Mark 6 Golf GTI probably does everything brilliantly and is a really good, enjoyable hot hatch. A Coupe S likewise, probably really good. Megane 265, 250, awesome cars, absolutely adore those. But I wanted something that was very simple and was really unlikely to cost me money, because if I've got something that ultimately I'm not as excited about and isn't sort of like a dream car, I don't really want to be spending a load of money on just keeping it on the road. So I basically decided that one of my things that I wanted to be naturally aspirated. As cars get a bit older, if they're turbocharged, there's kind of more stuff to go wrong and wear out. So naturally aspirated, petrol, simple engineering, from a marque that's better respected for being reliable. I would have had another Clio 200, but whilst that was a wonderful car, it went wrong over and over again. So I didn't really want to go through that again. Absolutely brilliant cars if you've got a little bit of patience or a touch more money to spend. Brilliant, go buy one. But for me, and I probably wanted something just a little bit more comfortable, and sort of a bit more of an overall car. Clio 200 is just a brilliant get in and thrash the pants off it cross country car. So I wanted something just a little bit more comfortable than that, and the Celica was what I came up with. So I ran one as a daily a number of years ago, quite a few years ago, when they were relatively new. And so I've got perhaps a little bit more respect for them and a bit more insight into them than most people have, because I think they suffer from a bit of an image problem. So whereby you've got cars of that era, like the Clios, particularly like the Civic Type R, that are very well respected and known to be really good bargain performance cars. To most people, they see the Celica and they don't think it's a driver's car. Now, it's not as much a driver's car. They'd be right in thinking that. It's not as much as a driver's car as a Civic or a Clio 200, but it does some of the things slightly better. You know, for example, it's a more comfortable car. To me, the interior is nicer. It's got some nice shapes across the dashboard, and they're a little bit cheaper as well. So the car that I bought, very low mileage. There just aren't any Civic Type R's of the same mileage around. And Clio 200s, they're actually quite expensive if you want a really, really well-kept low mileage car. Initially, I wanted a DC5. To be perfectly honest, that is the car that I wanted. I wanted a DC5. But with this being a money-saving exercise, I couldn't justify 10 grand on a, I don't know what, 12, 14-year-old car. Probably more like 15 years old. Yes, it would probably hold its money or even appreciate, but if you're daily driving it, you're putting miles on it, you run into potential issues about rust. I don't want a rusty daily. That'd be a nightmare. And they are very, very aggressive cars. They're not comfortable. They're ultra hyper responsive, even more so than the DC2s. They are a really, really focused car, a wonderful car, but a very focused car. And so I ended up sort of going for the poor man's Integra, the Celica. And I can tell you already, it's a really decent daily. So I mentioned it, the car I bought had 45,000 miles when I bought it, which is really, really not many miles. It's a 2006 car, so 14 years old, 45,000 miles, one owner from new, and had been garaged the whole time. So, you know, I bought something from the upper part of the market for a Celica. I went for a T-Sport, which is the 190 horsepower version, but not the range-topping GT. The GT has got, quite like the spoiler, not my favourite. It's a bit in your face, really nice front lip, and some very, very questionable side skirts that I couldn't live with, frankly. And they also command a bit of a price premium as well. So for me, the T-Sport was the right one, a little bit subtler and mechanically almost identical to the GT. So yeah, the 2ZZ engine and 190 horsepower. It's not going to blow my socks off, that's for sure, coming from the 140. But it's nice that at least the engine is interesting. You know, it revs around to 8.4. It's a very, very light engine in terms of the way it responds and revs, which is really, really cool. And it just means it's a little bit interesting. You know, it's not that fast, but I can have fun in it. It's kind of like an old B16. It doesn't have much torque, but it's interesting and revvy and sweet, so it's quite good fun. The chassis on these, I think, are quite underrated, particularly the way that they steer. This actually steers really nicely. I don't know how fast it is over a B road, but frankly, I don't really care. It's not a bad chassis, and it's quite good. A lot of cars are worse down a nice road than this is. So, you know, and most people wouldn't know that are into cars. Most people would just see that and they just think, basically, it looks way too fast for how fast it is. It's got a shit hairdryer of an engine, they would see, because it doesn't have a turbo and it's not as fast as other cars, and they just see it as a one-dimensional, at the time, pretty looking car that couldn't back it up with performance. Being a little bit mature now and having done the whole fast car thing, there's lots that I can appreciate about it. So hopefully through my ownership of the car, I can sort of report back to you on the things that I like about it. I'm sure there will be things that I don't like about it. And what I want to try and do is be quite honest with you about how it feels owning a sort of a more humble car, having had a series of really nice cars. And I don't mean any disrespect to people who own these cars, by, you know, I obviously own one myself now, and I've been through periods of life where I've owned very, very humble cars indeed. So I just want to give a sort of an honest appraisal of how I feel driving this car, and sort of a full view of my ownership. So I'm going to leave it there. I've got lots of plans for the car. I'm not going to spend too heavily on it, and that would be counterproductive, but I'm going to do quite a few little bits and pieces to make it as I want, and you know, hopefully some of you will tune in and follow my progress with the car. I'll try and be as honest as possible as always, and help out with lots of information wherever I can. So in the meantime, take care, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Any questions you might have or comments, if you've owned one yourself, good ideas for me to do things, please comment below. If you found the video informative, or if you like it, please press the like button. If you didn't like it, you press the thumbs down. Have a nice day. Anyway, all the best to everybody, and I'll catch you in the next video.